Hopefully you guys enjoyed the cinematic trailer in the beginning of this video. I'm super proud of the work that I did, and I couldn't have done it without the partners of today's video, which is Neewer and Shimbol. And that's what we're gonna be taking a look at today, is all the gear that I used to create that video. So if you guys don't know, the camera that I'm shooting currently on is the Nikon Z30, and it is a phenomenal camera. I use the kit lens that came with it, and I've been using it to create all of my video work. But it does have its limitations, and that's where some of this comes in handy. So we're gonna be taking a look at how to rig up the Nikon Z30 to use as a cinema camera. So I got a couple things over here sent by Neewer and Shimbol, and we're gonna start off with the Neewer products right over here. And these three products, alongside Neewer's PS150E V-mount battery, are gonna be the start of our rig. So let's open up some of these and I wanna show you what's inside. So first off, we have the V-mount battery, and this is the PS150E. This is one of the bigger batteries that Neewer has to offer, V-mount, but it is really cool because it has a ton of great features. Alongside the D-tap port, you also get on the other side a USB-C and USB-A, and the USB-C can power delivery up to 100 watts, which is incredible. And you do get this really cool screen on the backside showcasing all the output voltages that are coming out from this. And of course, you have your DC out, which is a 12 volt and an 8 volt. You can power all your accessories using just one of these batteries. And let's move on to product number 2, which in combination with this is just gonna improve the user experience of the Z30 for at least cinematic use. If you don't already know, the Z30 has smaller batteries, so the recording runtime is fairly good. The one problem that it reaches is that it does overheat after a certain while. So I reached out to Neewer and they sent over this right over here. It's called the VP EP5G, but if you just look up dummy battery and then your camera's name, I'm sure they'll have a very similar product. And this one is specifically for the Z30. So what this is a D-tap port on one side and a dummy battery on the other. And you put the dummy battery in your camera, and then your D-tap cable goes right on the side over here. And now you can power your camera using the V-mount battery. What this is gonna enable you to do is it's gonna relieve some of the pressure off the camera, and it won't concentrate any heat, at least in the battery department, and it'll offload all of that job to the V-mount battery itself, and it's gonna give you an incredible improvement of runtime. During this filming, I did not even feel the camera warming up. I was filming always in 4K 30, and I had zero issues with that, and I'm incredibly happy that I can just keep rolling and film as often and as long as I wanted to create the video that I created. But now that you have the dummy battery, we're gonna need a couple more things. So let's move on to this bigger box over here. And this is gonna be something that's gonna kind of piece everything together. Right in here, we have Neewer's L-shaped V-mount battery holder. Let's open this up. I wanna show you guys. So this right here is one of Neewer's V-mount battery holders, and it's extremely modular. So there is a lever right over here on the side that pops open, and it can be used to expand and contract depending on the size of your camera. So you can use it with a smaller camera or a larger camera. And I was always using it at the most compact form just to keep the entire setup super compact. And then you also have the option now to add your V-mount battery to the back over here, and you can kind of rotate it depending on how you want to hold your camera. And I'll show you guys all of this in a second. Additionally, it does come with its own Arca Swiss plate over here. Now, I just wanted to note that it also does come with 2 sets of screws, 1/4 20 and one of the little chubbier ones, depending on what your camera is. And on the bottom over here, you also have a Arca Swiss plate. Now, one thing I did run into with one of my tripods was that because it has this center mounting bracket over here, it wasn't able to fit on the tripod that I'm currently using because that one has a little bit of a protruded screw. But on my other Arca Swiss tripods that are completely flat on the bottom, there's no issues with this going on. And one more little feature it has right over here on the side, you just pull this out. There is a tiny key in here, and that'll just help you kind of screw in your tripod plate. So it's really cool. It just attaches in here with a magnet and just kind of stores in there. But now that we have this bracket, all you're gonna do is take your battery and it's just gonna slide right on just like that. And now we're almost ready to build the cinema rig. Okay, so now that we have those two products, we'll move on to the Shimbol over here. And if you guys haven't heard of Shimbol, they make extremely nice monitors for a very competitive price. So let's just open this up and I want to show you guys what comes in the box. So you get this super cool carrying case, and I did use this case when I was traveling. I actually fit all of the extra batteries, cables, including the dummy battery, all in this one bag, and including what's in here. And it all packed away very nicely into my suitcase, so I have no issues traveling with this. And right off the bat, we have the monitor itself. This is the M5, and it is a 5-inch monitor, and it was a joy to use. And I'm gonna show you guys some behind the scenes footage of me with the setup, but this monitor was super fun to use. I had zero issues. The connection was perfect. You can also power this monitor using a DC in cable. That's something that I thought about doing, looking for a USB-C to DC in adapter. That way I can just power the one monitor off of the V-mount battery, but my trip was very short notice, so I opted to use the batteries that I had at home. And let me just show you guys what I was using for those batteries. And I actually had this old Hi8 Hitachi video camera that actually had the same batteries, and I was very surprised that these batteries, after charging, even from the 90s, were perfectly fine to use. And I actually had a pretty good runtime. I'm gonna be honest, for the age of these batteries. I'll probably end up getting some new modern batteries, but for the trip itself, these specific batteries were super small, and I just had two of them. One of them I just put right into the case, and the other one just kind of stayed and lived on the monitor itself. But I had zero issues running this thing off of this, and it was nice to not have the cables. So I'll probably opt to get some newer batteries instead of the MacGyvering of a USB-C to DC in cable. Of course, that'll just eliminate one more cable, and I love compact minimalist setups, as you guys know. So that's the monitor. I want to show you guys what else comes in here. You do get two cables in here. You get a full-size HDMI cable to HDMI, and then you get a secondary full-size HDMI to mini HDMI, and this is the cable that I needed for my Z30. So if your camera doesn't have a full-size HDMI output, most likely it'll have the smaller one, and I'm very grateful that they actually send both cables in this package. Alongside these cables, you get a couple more things in here. You get a lens cloth, and you also get an additional screen protector. So if this is something that you want to throw onto your monitor, you can. It is included in this kit, so that is super nice. So let's put this aside for now and get into the last box over here. And now that we have the monitor, we actually need to attach it to the camera, and that's where this kit comes in handy. So let's open this up. This is Neewer's top handle and monitor mount kit, and it comes with a couple different things. So in this kit, you're gonna get, number one, a top handle. And this top handle is really cool. It's gonna have all sorts of mounting options alongside with two cold shoes. So this specific top handle actually attaches with these screws. So you will need a additional cage on your camera if you wanna use one of these handles. If you do wanna attach this handle to your camera, you will need a camera cage that Neewer also sells. I'll leave a link to the cages in the description down below if you guys wanna check it out, along with all these other products that we're taking a look at today. And then you also have in this box the additional monitor mount. And this monitor mount is a cold shoe to a little threaded adapter on top. So the way I was using it was, of course, this one has a RE locking pin in there, so you're not gonna have your monitor pivot on you. So once you have this securely attached to your monitor, you can actually attach this monitor directly onto the cold shoe. Now, I wouldn't recommend that for maybe larger monitors, but because this is such a small and lightweight monitor, and I'm using a very small battery, I had no issues using it with my Z30. So now that we have all of this paired together, why don't we build the camera rig together? So I'm gonna swap over to my phone as a secondary camera, so that you're gonna see a drop in quality, but this is gonna be how I build my camera. All right guys, so I just swapped over to the iPhone and I have my Nikon Z30 over here. So I'm gonna show you guys how I build my little cinematic setup. So first thing, actually, let's start with the lens. This is the 16 to 50. This is the kit lens actually. It's a 3.5 to 6.3, but the benefit of this one is it does have built-in VR, which is something that majority of the DX lenses don't have. And the filter ring on this is pretty small, so I actually have a step-up ring over here. It's a 46 to 67, and I have that just screwed on right over here on the front. And on top of that, I have my variable ND filter. And this right here is a Prism Lens FX filter. This is the Cinema VND Blackout, and this one's a 67 millimeter filter, and it has a 0.3 all the way to 1.5T stops of diffusion. So this helps if I'm going inside and out. ND filter is going to be great to keep your shutter speed the same, and you'll just have to vary your ND depending on when you're shooting and what time of day. Now let's take out the battery because that'll be the first thing to go in this, and we will replace that with Neewer's dummy battery. And again, this kind of just slides right into the battery compartment, and all you're gonna do is there is a little bit of a rubber stop over here, and you're just gonna pop this open, and that cable can now pop out of the battery compartment and clear the little door over here. So now that we have the dummy battery in place, let's move on to the tripod plate. And remember, the little compartment over here is gonna have that little magnetic key, and that's gonna just help us attach the screw onto the tripod. So let's do that real quick, and just make sure that your tripod plate is centered with your lens, and that'll just help us balance the camera out whenever we put it on the V-mount battery holder. Perfect. So now we have our battery in place, mounted to the V-mount holder, and we can move on to mounting our V-mount battery, and that's gonna be as easy as just clicking that into the back, and you can see already it's coming together. Now we'll take our V-mount battery and we'll take the D-tap cable, we'll plug that in, and now we have power to the camera itself. Now if you're not used to using the dials on your camera and you use the touch screen, I would recommend popping the screen out and having it just laying here on the side. That way you can adjust your settings as needed. I have everything pretty much set to where I want to, so I'm just gonna keep it like this just to keep it nice and compact. And we're gonna use the monitor to see our image. So we're gonna take that Neewer monitor mount that we looked at previously, and we're just gonna attach that to the Shimbol M5. And that is together now gonna slide into the cold shoe. And you do have a little lever to adjust the viewing angle. Perfect. And last but not least, we're just gonna take our mini HDMI. That will go into the side of the Z30. And then the HDMI cable will go straight into the monitor. And make sure you put it into HDMI in. And then on the top over here, you have a power button, and you're just gonna hold that down, and you're just gonna let that monitor power on. So now that the monitor is powered on, we're ready to film. And the grip on the Z30 is actually very, very comfortable. So you really don't need an additional grip to this, but all you're gonna do is now add the microphones. I actually have mine connected to the iPhone right now, but I would just pop that into the mic jack right over there. And I just actually have the mic clipped onto my little Peak Design strap over here. But this is the setup that I go with, and I thoroughly enjoyed using this. Again, for a cinema rig, it's extremely compact. Again, I want to keep it as light as possible because I want to enjoy my time while I was filming. But again, having this compact monitor, we only have one cable, everything's powered off of a V-mount and the additional battery on the back of the M5. But yeah, this is my setup, and I don't know, I love it. It personally makes me want to create more, makes me want to take this with me everywhere. Again, it's super compact, so this is something I can just throw into even my carry-on or a backpack when I'm traveling. This is gonna be my new go-to cinematic video kit. What do you guys think about it? Let me know in the comments what you guys think of this setup. Can you guys make this smaller? I'm sure there are smaller V-mount batteries out there, but I do enjoy having this larger size one, just in case I actually just need to charge anything else with that USB-C output. But yeah, this monitor is incredible. Again, you have some additional settings over here you can go through. If you want to use manual lenses with this camera, the monitor has all the settings you need for focus peaking and everything. Definitely check out the Shimbol M5. This is my new favorite monitor. Again, for something so compact and so affordable, I think you guys are all gonna love it. Thank you guys for sticking around to the end of this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys liked these products that I'm sharing with you. Of course, everything will be linked down in the description. And if you choose to use any of those links, it'll definitely help out the channel. I hope this was informative and helpful. If you're looking to start your own little cinematic journey like I am, I'm having so much fun creating these videos. And of course, working on a little bit of that cinematic stuff is a joy. But yeah, thank you guys again. Thank you to Neewer and Shimbol for working with me on this project. And if you guys want to support this channel further, feel free to leave a like, subscribe to the channel. Let me know in the comments, what camera are you guys using to create your own little cinematic videos? And until next time, I'll see you guys real soon.